Hi there villagers. Today I am making Fat Rascals, and yes, that is what they are called. They are commonly found in Yorkshire, and if you happen to be in Harrogate you can pop along to the Betty's tea shop, which is very famous, and buy one. They are effectively a cross between a scone and a tea cake, and now I'm going to show you how to make them. So I've centered the scales, and the first thing we need is 455 grams of self-raising flour. So it's a rubbing in method, and then a roll out the dough. So we'll save some flour for rolling out the dough. And then 230 grams of butter. I was going to bake yesterday, then we had a catastrophe and noticed that the bean bag had got cat wee all over it. So the rest of the afternoon was spent sorting that out, which included putting the bean bag in the wash and taking all the beans out so that we could put it in the wash, which meant we had beans all over the kitchen. So as a result, this butter's been sitting out on the countertop and is ridiculously soft, which I now realise may be a mistake. In the UK, butter pats are 250 grams. So I think I'm not going to need all of this, but it might be close by the looks of it. Yeah. That's as much as I've got spare, so that's silly, isn't it? I'll put that in the butter dish in a bit. Right, take the scales away from it, and now we're going to rub in. So take all the jewellery off. Sprinkle them over with flour. Normally I would cut up the lumps, but the butter is so ridiculously soft. It's quite warm here at the moment, so leaving it out on the countertop has meant it very, very soft. But it does seem to be rubbing in equally as well as if it was hard, so that's good. You are also going to need a rolling pin and some sort of cutter of your size and your shape choosing. But we're getting there. I always like to give it a shake because for some reason it brings the bits up to the surface. Any physics geniuses out there can tell me why, because I have no idea why. So it is theatre season here in my house at the moment. My daughter's been in a production of Fame until fairly recently, and now her normal theatre school has its annual show this weekend, so it's all go here. But I have the afternoon off to myself, so I've just taken myself to the shopping outlet to see if I can find new gym clothes which I couldn't. It's quite a menacing place. When you're as big as me, it is quite difficult to walk into places and think, oh yes, that will fit. So it's a bit unnerving. There we go, nice breadcrumb mixture. Interesting, I've just read the pattern, haha, too much wool. I've just read the recipe again, and it doesn't need any sugar going into it, just for sprinkling. I think I better look that up and double check that before I go any further. See you in a minute. And I'm back. It depends where you look, is the answer about the sugar. I remember where this recipe came from, so I've looked up the right recipe, and the answer is no, it doesn't need sugar. But if you looked up anybody else's recipe, that may not necessarily be the case. So we're going to put in 110 grams of currants. Well, I have a sort of hybrid arrangement, and I've got sultanas, and I have raisins, and I have mixed dried fruit, so we'll do what we can with all of that. But if there's one you like more, use that. And I would imagine if you're over generous with your fruit, it wouldn't matter greatly. So that's 124, which is close enough to my mind. We'll see whether that looks fruity enough or whether we'll put some more in. So we don't need any sugar. And then we're looking for 140 mils of milk and water combined. So we'll just change it to milliliters. And I'll get a little jug. Some water, and I'll get the milk. So we're now on milliliters, and we're going for 140. So I'll do 100 milk and 40 water, I think. Exact, but close enough. Okay, I'm still very concerned about this lack of sugar. I guess it'd be better for you that way. So I come from a fairly fruit eating household, and I don't think that's fruity enough. So I'm just going to put in the rest of this packet without weighing it. That looks a better distribution. And we're not going to need the scales anymore, so we'll get rid of them. Yeah, that looks like a better distribution, doesn't it? So you're looking for a consistency you can roll out, and that's not quite it yet. So I'll just go for little dribbles, because if we go too far the other way, that's a problem too. Right, can you see how that's holding together? So we'll flour our surface. Drop the camera angle down a bit. rolling pin. And as I say, something to use as a cutter. Ooh, that'll do. For some reason I have a plastic wine glass but with no foot. That'll make quite a good cutter. Right, so that's bedded that in a bit. So we're going to, let's have that spoon back. Pop some of this out onto our surface and roll it out. I think we'll save some of that and not do all of it at once. Always remember to flour your rolling pin as well. Nothing worse than having it stuck to the thing you're trying to roll out. So the thicker you roll it out, the taller your fat rascal will be. Fat, if you see what I mean. So I think we'll leave it at that, and we'll get some baking trays. Of oil on each baking sheet. And give it a brush. Right, and we'll see how many we can get out of this. There's the first one. You can see how it would look a bit like a scone. And now we cut the rest out, and I'll show you what they look like now. Allow plenty of space because I suspect they're going to be very fat. They're going to cook in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes at 180 degrees C, 350 Fahrenheit or gas mark 4. See you after the baking. This batch I forgot to put the sugar on the top, but you get the idea. They actually haven't grown as much as I thought. So you didn't really need to leave such a big gap. Let them cool a little bit, but I suggest you eat them while they're warm. Enjoy.